today's video, I want to do a quick review of my RevolutionRace 30-litre backpack. And the first thing I want to say is, this is not a sponsored video. I'm going to be talking about a few products in this video, but none of these companies know that I'm making this video. They've not provided the products or anything like that. These are just my opinions about these products. The 511 Rush I've had for about 6 months now, and the RevolutionRace I've had for only 3 or 4 weeks. And I was originally planning on using this RevolutionRace backpack for a few months and then doing like a 6-month review of what I liked and disliked about it. But the truth is, after just a few weeks of using the RevolutionRace, I think there's some quirks about this backpack that people who might be interested in it would want to know about it before making a purchasing decision. Now, it just so happens that those quirks, or design features if you prefer, I actually quite like them, but I could see them frustrating some users. So I wanted to show them in this video and talk about why I actually really like them and allow you to see them in case it's something that would frustrate you. And I will open with, I think this is a really good backpack if you're looking at using it for hiking, as a day pack, or even just a day-to-day pack for taking to the office or that kind of thing. There is also a reason that I've got my Grail Geopress out, which is to do with one of the downsides of this backpack. Let's get rid of the Grail and the 511 Rush for now though, and allow me to give you just a quick overview of the RevolutionRace 30-litre backpack. And I will bring the 511 back for comparisons, but it is important to bear in mind the 511 is a heavier, more ruggedly built backpack, weighing about 450 grams more than the RevolutionRace without the waist strap. And of course, just because the 511 is more ruggedly built doesn't necessarily make it better. It is heavier and a lot of hikers won't like that. First thing to look at in the RevolutionRace is it comes fitted with a waist strap. Now, I don't typically wear the waist strap, so a lot of the time, certainly day-to-day use, I have it strapped around the back so that it's out of the way, but I have found it really comfortable. It's nice and easy to adjust, and it does take some of the weight off your shoulders, so maybe I will become a waist strap convert. When I'm out hiking, I have started using the waist strap, and I do find it really comfortable. But let's jump straight in and start looking at the quirks of this backpack that I think people who are maybe looking at purchasing a new backpack would want to know about it before they make a buying decision. And the first thing is, just like the Rush 24, it does have a pouch at the top of the pack. Now the Rush 24 pouch was very small, you're only going to fit a wallet and maybe some sunglasses in it, a passport, something like that. This one is much bigger, but it still offers convenient access to some of those items that you might want quickly. So instead of just keeping my sunglasses in the top pouch, with the RevolutionRace, I'm actually able to keep a lot more. For example, I keep my gloves, my hat, my buff, and my goggles and sunglasses up here, the kinds of items that I wouldn't want to go digging through my backpack to get to if I needed. There is a lot of room in this pouch. The problem is, of course, this pouch eats into the storage space in the main compartment. Now, the actual main pouch is a lot bigger than it initially looks on camera here, because if I move my waterproof out of the way, you can see that I've got a 5-litre dry pack at the bottom. So there is still a lot of room in the pack, even though it doesn't look so on camera initially. Let me quickly repack these items, then that does of course bring us on to the rest of the configuration of the main pouch. Which brings me on to one of my common frustrations with backpacks, which is the fact that the front zipper for the main pouch doesn't go all the way down to the bottom of the pack. I criticised the 511 for this because the zip went down to about 2 inches off the ground, whereas with the RevolutionRace it goes down to about 4 inches off the ground, so it's a little bit worse in this particular case. You can't fully open the front pouch all the way. When I brought up this point last time, people did counter it by saying this might be to help the waterproofing of the backpack so that the zip isn't ever all the way down when in really wet conditions or sitting in water where it might let water into the pack. If that is the reason, I do concede the point, but it is still really annoying that I can't open this pouch all the way. Other than that, the backpack's main compartment has the usual configuration that you get with backpacks these days, where it has 2 pouches in the front, the top one being a mesh pouch where I keep some first aid supplies. Right now I've got my compass, even though I usually put that on the front of the pack. And then in the lower pouch, I keep some fire starting equipment and things that I'm only going to use in an emergency, so I rarely need to get to. That said, don't take that to mean that you can only get to the lower pouch in an emergency, like it's frustrating to use or something like that. You can open the pack low enough to get to that pouch. It's just my preference for where I keep my items. That said, the main compartment is quite spacious, and although there's this pouch at the top which does eat some of the space from the main compartment, there is still a lot of room in here, and you can actually get behind this pouch. So if you are carrying a water bladder and you're looking at this wondering where are you going to route the pipe, Well, you can see here that there is a compartment to hold your water bladder, and then you can route that pipe up behind this pouch, and there is an opening at the top to get the water pipe around to the front of the pack. If you don't carry a water bladder, this is convenient to put a laptop, but if you are carrying a water bladder in here, you can route the pipe up behind this pouch, and then at the top of the pack there is an opening to allow the drinking tube to come out from the top and be routed around to the front of the pack. There is also a zip at the back of the pouch that makes accessing that compartment easier, so when it comes to refilling the bladder you don't have to completely empty the pack to get to it. I said I don't carry a water bladder though, so of course I carry 2 water bottles, and on the side of the pack there is these elasticated mesh pouches for putting water bottles in. Here I've got a SIG 1 litre aluminium bottle, and it fits perfectly. However, it does seem that the SIG 1 litres are about the biggest thing you can fit in these mesh side pouches, so if you're carrying anything bigger it might not fit. Now today I don't have a second water bottle in my pack, I've got my InReach clipped on here, which is a useful spot to put it so that it's got line of sight of the sky and it's nice and securely attached to the exterior of the pack. But my biggest frustration with this backpack is I usually carry a Grail GeoPress, and it is just too big to fit in these mesh side pouches. It kind of feels like it's gonna fit, but it really does seem to be stretching the pouch. Now Grail do make smaller bottles, they've got the Ultralight or the Ultra Press, but I really do wish that this side pouch was just very slightly bigger so that it could fit my GeoPress in it. This might not bother you at all though, because whilst I'm using the GeoPress, you might be carrying a water bladder or just carrying smart bottles or using a Sawyer Squeeze or a Sawyer Mini or something else, so this might not bother you one bit. There's so many different water carrying and water filtration options out there that this limitation, I grant you, is a minor one. But as a Grail user, it is a frustration to me. The SIGs fit perfectly, so now I'm carrying 2 of those instead, but the GeoPress does not fit. Whilst we're looking at the side of the pack, let's take a look at these straps. So there are 2 straps on each side, one at the top and bottom, and these could be useful for carrying hiking poles if you use them, or if you've got a tent or something like that and you want to strap them to the side, that could work too. As you can see, I just clip my InReach on there, that works fine. They are a little bit unusual, they're not like regular backpack straps, they are these kind of hook and loop system, but it seems to work well. I do find using them a little bit awkward, adjusting them and tightening them. They don't seem to stay tight, but I mean for just hooking things on the side like an InReach or some hiking poles, it's probably not going to be a big deal. They would be a little bit awkward if you're using them for compression of the pack, I think, if you've got it full to near capacity, but I find the size of the pack is pretty good, and most of the time I don't find myself needing that extra compression for the equipment that I am carrying. And since when I clip my InReach on the side, I do put it in the pouch unless there's a water bottle in there as well, so I don't worry about losing it at all. I think it's pretty secure. I would probably swap them out just for regular backpack buckles though, if I had the choice, but honestly, it's just a minor frustration. The next thing to point out is this backpack does come with sternum straps, so if you're a sternum strap user, they are fitted. I don't use them, so I've just slid them all the way down to the bottom, and honestly they don't get in the way down here, but maybe if I continue not to use them I will remove them from the pack. If you are a sternum strap user though, as you can see there is a lot of adjustment in these straps, so you can position them exactly where you want them. Moving on to take a look at the main backpack straps themselves though, as you can see they are very thin and they're not very heavily padded. This was the main reason that I wanted to bring out the 511 Rush for comparison today, because I think that backpack goes to the opposite extreme. The 511 has very wide, very well padded straps. And although it doesn't have a waist strap, but it does have a fitment point for a waist strap, that backpack is heavier than the RevolutionRace. So some of this might just be personal preference for the level of padding that you want. Let me put them side by side though, because I think that really highlights the difference. And when comparing these, I guess you should bear in mind that the 511 is a 37 litre pack and the RevolutionRace is only a 30 litre pack. So you are going to fit less in the RevolutionRace pack and therefore be carrying less weight overall. But it is quite a significant difference in width and padding level. Here you can now see the back of the backpack, and you can see that there is some degree of ventilation created by the padding on the back. The back is actually quite nicely padded as well, both where the waist strap is and higher up on the pack. I should also point out that the waist strap is removable, so if like me you don't really use it all of the time, instead of clipping it around like I showed earlier, you can just remove it if you would prefer. Of course you're going to carry more weight on your shoulders, but again, just personal preference, but it is nice to have those customization options. Just like each of the straps comes with a little elasticated loop to keep things neat and to allow you to customize it to your exact measurements. If you do carry a water bladder, there is also an extra strap in the top here that allows you to keep everything neat, or you can tuck it away if, like me, you don't use one. All of that said, what is my verdict for this backpack? Well, the truth is, I really like it. It's noticeably lighter than the pack I was using previously. I like the fact that it's highly customizable, yet you can tuck all of the straps away once you've got it dialed into your measurements. I think that the top pouch, although unconventional, is really useful. I love the fact that I've got my gloves, hat, and goggles really easy to reach. Oh, I should point out, if people are thinking about how waterproof is that top pouch, that Revolution Race does sell a water cover separately if you want to use a water cover. I don't tend to because, as you've seen inside, I use dry bags, which keeps everything neat and dry. But yeah, short story, I love this pack. I do recommend it to people. I think that top pouch is a useful feature, and so far the only frustration that I've had with my recent usage is the fact that my grail won't fit in the side pouch. But with so many options for water filtration and water purification, I don't think that will impact very many people. And of course, if you do love grail and you want to try this backpack, there is a smaller grail which would solve the problem anyway.